points at least be consistent. You cannot have this random crap and call it challenging, because it's not. There's nothing challenging about this. It's funny, because I was actually really calm about... What do you think about Far Cry? That's actually a good question. I actually like Far Cry. I think I mentioned it playing Primal. It's actually okay. I haven't played 6, so I probably won't, because I've heard just how propaganda pushing is and the horrible empty exits in the game. Microtransactions, in case you don't know. I do find it funny that literally everyone I see on YouTube talks about how great Far Cry 3 is, and that no one can agree on anything else past it, maybe except Blood Dragon. It's like, oh, Far Cry 4 is not as good as Far Cry 3. Far Cry Primal's not good as Far Cry... Far Cry Primal's not as good as Far Cry 3. Far Cry 5's not as good as Far Cry 3. And, of course, it's the same shit. And yet, I'm nostalgic bound? Like, fuck. Stop being fucking nostalgic bound and fucking telling others to do the same. Yeah, I thought Far Cry was... Far Cry 3 was, fun. But it's like... There was some good to be found in Far Cry 4 and 5. I'll agree that the fucking series got milked, and I thought the last good one was Far Cry 5, because that has the Far Cry the Far Cry arcade mode, essentially the level editor, which has been the most advanced the series has seen to date, which I think has been a thing since even the first game, and even the console ports, which no one really talks about. And even Far Cry 3 had it. It was just only multiplayer, but then they let you play it against, single. You could play it by yourself in the arcade and actually make your own levels. Like, people have actually made levels in there that's actually okay, and I think that's really awesome. More games need to do that. They really do. I think it might be even better than the level editor in Doom 2016, actually. They can actually make real levels. I don't know how you can do it, but show me how and I'll play your game. And even some of the perks actually can be used in Far Cry Arcade, and even the game actually tells you what ones can be used in there. It didn't return to New Dawn, so I'm probably not going to play that. And it definitely didn't come back in 6, which is really disappointing. The only thing that really came out of 6 that was actually worthwhile was that Far Cry Blood Dragon actually got remastered, which is the one that everyone fucking talks about, except no one did, because reasons. Far Cry 6 is good. I've heard of it. Well, I might try it, but I'm going to wait for a sale, to be honest. I did get the other ones, but I didn't get Far Cry 6 when it was new, unfortunately. I don't know if I can still get the pre-order bonus, so I'm going to be really mad if they don't get that shit eventually. They usually do that, at least. I actually really wanted to get that, but I think it's just some cosmetic bullshit. But I don't know. It's, I might try it, but I'm going to wait for a sale. I'm definitely going to wait for, like, a really good sale. I don't know when, like, the big Ubisoft sale is, but whenever that is, I'm definitely going to try and get it. But I still think that Far Cry 5 was the last good game, in my opinion, because it had the... I know that the only thing I really didn't like about Far Cry 5 was the forced story progression and the removal of the primitive heal, which I really, really like in Far Cry Primal. And while Far Cry Primal might be a little too basic, I think people kind of misunderstand the point of that game. But even playing it myself, I think it's an interesting take on the genre. The only thing I really have to criticize is actually the hunter vision, and that's mainly because, one, you can change the settings and the options to make it literally an infinite time, which doesn't make any sense, and two, there definitely should have been more color coding for the hunter vision. Like, everything is labeled yellow, and yet it just kind of doesn't really work, in my opinion. I mean, I understand it's not like, night vision, but it's, I don't know. It's it definitely could have at least had a couple more colors, in my opinion. At least different shades of yellow or something. It doesn't have to be game-breaking, but there definitely could have been at least some colors. I mean, the game literally marks enemies on the radar, so why couldn't it do the same on the fucking hunter vision, honestly? Make objects that can interact with yellow, make enemies red, make allies green, make the collectibles blue, I guess, or something. It's like... They could have at least had those at the very least, but that's just me personally. It's not a deal breaker, but I have lost tribe followers because I actually killed some thinking that they were enemy because I always have hunter vision on because there's no point ever turning that shit off. But otherwise, I do think it's a decent game. But I think had it came out today, it probably ruined by microtransactions, because Ubisoft is fucking terrible at that now. And even when I did play Primal, I really like doing the side content, or at least like the upgrading stuff. I really find that to be really interesting. But that just might be me personally. I never really had an issue with the resource gathering. It's just maybe specific ones I have a hard time with, but just going around collecting stuff, I never really found it to be a total chore, because, you know, the game is interesting in that sort of way. I find it to be an interesting time sink, to be honest. And even with Far Cry 4 letting you ride elf and stuff, I think that's really interesting. Kind of sucks to return in Far Cry 5, but, you know, each game does usually bring something new to the table. But I think the series is really starting to get milked, because they're not even bringing back that mode, and it's just clear that people are just going to say, oh, it's not as good as Far Cry 3, because one game that came out almost 10 years ago was somehow the only good thing about the series. And yet, even when they try to do good in the other games, it's somehow not as good as the game from fucking 10 years ago. How fucking ironic. But yes, I do enjoy Far Cry, and I know they're not like other shooters, but I don't expect them to be like Doom or Time Splitters, because they're its own thing, which I'm completely fine with. But there are still things in those games that kind of piss me off. But they're not completely game-breaking, but I can enjoy a game like Far Cry for the most part. So, yes, I do like Far Cry. I know they're not like other games, I guess, but, you know, I know they're not like the greatest thing ever, but I can probably enjoy Far Cry more, at least the good ones, compared to a COD game, because I really prefer exploration in the shooter games. And if the game's gonna be linear, it has to be like engaging without losing its charm, which is why a lot of these games really annoy me, to be honest. Like a game like COD, the action. Oh my god, I did not get the checkpoint at all. Now watch, Now watch, I'm gonna fucking get the checkpoint again, even though I cleared it the first time, not to fucking do this again. This is what I'm fucking talking about. Couldn't they at least checkpoint you there, dude? Like, oh my god. Checkpoints are entirely difficulty, so why make me go for this again? I literally cleared this. No, you didn't. Yes, I did, motherfucker. Did I not fucking go the specific way? Whatever. I also like Watch Dogs 1 and 2, and I even enjoy Crysis. Those are examples of games where the mechanics are really interesting, but it kind of sucks we never really got anything past Crysis 3. Those are my ideal of power fantasy that people like to use now. You actually have abilities that are actually decent. And I really like how in Crysis and even Homefront, the Revolution, you can actually change attachments on your gun at any time. Which I think is a really, really awesome concept that should be in more shooters, to be honest. Imagine all the crazy possibilities, like being able to switch out an ACOG or whatever. Like, if you don't like an attachment in a COD game, just swap it out for something else that you like. Everybody wins. Like, I don't know. I think more games need features like that, to be honest. You can literally customize your playing experience. Don't like the ACOG, just take it off. Or if you want to attach a grenade launcher, have at it. Games need more features like that, to be honest. That is like the coolest thing I've seen in a game like that. But yeah, Far Cry is a good series. I know the first one was a bit interesting though, at least the original PC version, but those games I can get down with. I know they're not like other games, but that's fine. They can hold up on their own, so I don't mind them. I don't expect them to play like Doom or Time Splitters, but they are so good on their own. So I'll give Far Cry a pass. I don't really like the linear missions in Far Cry 3, though. They're actually fucking terrible. Everything else about the game that's not the main missions is just whatever. Shut up, Soap. My god, dude, I should have had this cleared by now. I swear to God, I must take some Excedrin, because I'm really annoyed at this. I should have had this level beaten by now. Yeah, that's the thing I don't understand. It's like, this is my main problem with the games that nobody talks about. Yes, the campaigns for the older games might be fun, but when you're playing this on Veteran, where the checkpoints are RNG, and you keep dying over and over again, this is fucking legitimately bullshit. I mean, maybe Hardened might be a proper experience, but Veteran is just not even fun or fair, honestly. I know the whole point is to duck and shoot, but it's like, when I'm literally like 2 hits from death, and even when I get past it, I just die to some bullshit. The game doesn't give me a checkpoint. It's like, what's the point in playing it? You just don't notice it as much because you're not really dying in so quick. That's the problem. Nobody talks about actual issues like this. Now watch, I'm gonna get a checkpoint at the fucking part that should have gotten it, even though I cleared all the enemies before. Watch. The game's gonna cheat me out of my checkpoint again. Watch. You watching? Watch. Alright, he's talking. He's talking. Look, you saw that, right? What did I do differently last time that I didn't get my fucking checkpoint, dude? What did I do differently from the last time I got to this part? Nothing.